Donald Trump, you are known for your terrible haircut, and now I can see why. Your hair sucks. You look like Justin Bieber caught on fire.
What's the difference between a wet raccoon and Donald J. Trump's hair? A wet raccoon doesn't have $7 billion fucking dollars in the bank.
Here's what happens when you challenge Trump. He fires back with confidence and sharp comebacks. That's exactly why his critics can't stand him. He never holds back, especially when calling out woke culture or handling tough questions from the media. Let's take a look at some of his best moments, starting with his take on why men shouldn't compete in women's sports.
Or the weightlifter, I think it was like 218 pounds. I know, that's a lot. I can't lift it. I don't know who can. Any of our ex-Trump people, they're all Trump people. Kevin's saying he can lift it. I don't know about that, Kevin, but that's a lot. 218 pounds, and she got over that weight, and she was going to break it. They put a half an ounce here, half little tiny ring on top of these big barbells, dumbbells. Then they go, and she went like this, and she got to break it. Stood for 11 years. And her mother and father are screaming, "You got it! You got it, darling. I'm so proud of my girl." Well, she couldn't do it. And then this guy comes along. He's named Alice. And he looks at the weight. World record, world record. We could have put another couple of 100 pounds on. I think he would have lifted it. It's so disrespectful to women. And they say it's politically incorrect. It's so disrespectful to women.
Some people really can't stand Trump, but you know what's even wilder? The fact that men are still allowed to compete against women in sports. Now that he's back in office, you can bet he's going to do something about it.
Loopholes he took advantage of when he claimed $1 billion loss that enabled him to avoid paying taxes.
Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes?
Of course I do. And so do all of her donors, or most of her donors. I know many of her donors. I pay tremendous numbers of taxes. I absolutely used it. And so did Warren Buffett. And so did George Soros. And so did many of the other people that Hillary is getting money from. She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were senator? The reason you didn't is that all your friends take the same advantage that I do. And I do. You have provisions in the tax code that frankly we could change, but you wouldn't change it because all of these people give you the money so you can take negative ads on Donald Trump.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Like Trump himself said, if Hillary had such a problem with the tax code, why didn't she fix it when she was a senator? Honestly, that's just embarrassing.
Illegal immigrants are causing tremendous crime. Tremendous.
Immigrants commit less crime than U.S.-born citizens.
Illegal immigrants. I'm talking about illegal immigrants. I'm not talking about immigrants. I'm talking about illegal immigrants. I'm an immigrant. You're an immigrant. We're all immigrants.
The Pew Research says that there are, for immigrants on the whole,
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out. Go ahead. You're a very naive person.
If they want to challenge Trump in a debate, the least they can do is come prepared with real questions they've actually researched. Watching them fumble is just plain embarrassing.
You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner, a first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that, and let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe
I have
that
answered the
black voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
It's wild how almost the entire media is stacked against Trump. I just don't get it. If you have any ideas why, drop them in the comments. No matter how much good he does, they're always digging up something from his past to attack him over.
Gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe that?
The media loves to tear this guy down, even when he's out here trying to protect kids from things that could seriously impact their future. But somehow they still paint him as the bad guy. It's just crazy.
Are you ready for some tough questions?
You're going to be fair.
I'm going to be fair.
Just be fair.
But you're okay with some tough questions?
No, no.
I'm okay with tough
I want him
questions.
to be fair. You don't ask Biden tough questions.
I didn't want to have this kind of angry.
didn't.
No, I didn't.
Of course you
No, I
did. Well,
didn't.
then you brought up a lot of subjects that
Well, I said
were
I'm going to ask you
inappropriately brought
tough
up.
questions.
They were inappropriately
But-
brought up right from the beginning. No, your first question was, this is going to be tough questions.
Why?
You don't ask Joe Biden. I saw your interview with Joe in 60 Minutes. I see Joe Biden giving softball after softball. I've seen all of his interviews. He's never been asked a question that's hard.
Okay, but forget him for a minute.
No, but you
you're
start with
president.
me.
You're president. And
Excuse me, Leslie, you started with me. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions?
Are you?
That's no way to talk. Let's go.
You keep calling this the Chinese virus. There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate. Yeah, please, John, please.
Are you
I
comfortable
have
with
great,
this term?
I have great love for all of the people from our country, but as you know, China tried to say at one point, maybe they stopped now, that it was caused by American soldiers. That can't happen. It's not going to happen. Not as long as I'm president. It comes from China.
Yeah, just like they called it the Spanish flu, the Chinese virus is going to be called the Chinese virus. It's that simple.
Overall, South Korea has done 5 times more tests than the U.S. per capita. Why is that?
I don't think that's true.
That is true.
Who are you with?
Yahoo News.
Do you want to respond to that, if you have the numbers?
South Korea's testing was 11 per 100,000, and we're at 17 per 100,000.
All right. Are you going to apologize, Yahoo? That's why you're Yahoo. Nobody knows who that is.
You know it's bad when they have to make up fake data just to attack Trump. But as always, he and his team hit back with the real numbers and shut it down. Your earnings are based on the value of your work, not your gender. If you're feeling this, check out more videos on screen, and I'll see you in the next one.